The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. This is Jennifer Schaus coming to you live from Washington, D.C., and I want to thank you for joining us for our webinar today. The topic, obviously, as you can see on your screen, is leveraging social media for marketing and sales results. Shouldn't really take more than, I would say, 15, 20 minutes to run through the presentation. Everything will be recorded, so if you have questions, feel free to type them into the box on the right-hand side, and I will address those at the end of the presentation. And I think we will get started. We had a diverse group that signed up for the webinar, anything from accounting firms to product companies, companies selling to the government, as well as commercial markets, and I think there was maybe one or two consumer companies that were on there as well. So we will dig in here. The agenda, I'll give you a little bit of information about myself. We'll go through the presentation. I'll give you some conclusions about social media, and as I mentioned, we will then wrap up with a question and answer session if anybody does have questions. Okay, a little bit about myself. I run a consulting firm in Washington, D.C. We primarily help government contractors with putting together a market analysis of the agencies and which government agencies they should be selling to. We then help them enact that plan and make the sales and marketing calls into the agencies, and then various other support services for the government contractors, GSA schedules, 8A certification, DCAA audits, and so forth. Additionally, over the last 2.5 years, we've also been working with companies that are focused just on the B2B or B2C market, business to business or business to consumer. And what we're helping them do is leverage social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's really kind of what this webinar is focused on today. Also, we're industry agnostic, so it doesn't matter if you're selling security cameras or accounting services or financial services. We work with a lot of different and diverse companies. As far as the marketing services geared towards the B2B companies, as I mentioned, will help with a lot of creating the content, which as we get through this presentation, you understand is really 90% of what social media is. So we'll help with writing blogs, press releases, brochure content, as well as helping you get media coverage. We've been quoted in the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, Forbes, and CNN, and a couple other outlets. And so we've got connections into some of the press outlets that are out there and can help your company obtain the same success. Okay, so we'll dig into the presentation, and as I said, if you've got questions as we go along, just feel free to type them in over at the right-hand side, and we will address those at the end. So social media, what is it, why use it, and lastly, how to use it. You guys are all probably familiar with many of the logos that we've got there, Google+, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and blogging. Obviously, there's a lot more than just those, but I wanted to focus on the ones that I guess you could say are kind of popular at this time. Sure, there's Pinterest and a couple others that have kind of surfaced to the top, but these are the main ones. So I just wanted to share some best practices that I've been using on some of those logos that you see there. If you look up social media on Wiki, let me just jump back to that slide. They're basically saying that it's interaction between people, sharing information and knowledge across various platforms. So it's a little bit more advanced than the Flintstones making their calls across cans and wires, but it's a great way to reach a larger audience. Doesn't matter, you can reach people in different time zones, different countries, and as the use of internet and social media becomes more important, even in politics in the Middle East, and as we saw with the Arab Spring, there's really no boundaries. So most people, I'm assuming, that are on the call are using or want to use social media to enhance their business. So you're selling either a product or service, and you can easily find clients in China, Brazil, wherever you want to, or even in your own backyard that perhaps you didn't know existed. So obviously, why use it? And I've listed a couple advantages and benefits. It's a great way if you use it consistently to promote your brand, and it's basically a big billboard that you can reach a very large audience. How do you do that? It's primarily by using content and sharing your knowledge, and by sharing your knowledge, you're then going to gain credibility. So this can be through writing white papers, or I'll give you an example. We did something, 9 questions to ask before jumping into the government market. The more content that you put out there, the easier it is for people to find you if they go onto Google and do a search. And the more content that you have, the more credible that you're going to be to that audience, and the more your phone will ring and emails will start filtering in and referrals will come your way as well. So, but obviously the reason is to obtain customers and make money. But let's back up a little bit and try to understand why customers make purchases. Kind of the psychology there of a customer. They have a need, but obviously many customers out there have needs. And what really drives their decision to use you versus a competitor can be that they know you, they trust you, you've got a personal relationship. And actually, I probably should have put in that slide, you know, relationships do matter. So social media can help accelerate that relationship building process. And they see value and they understand your ROI. So the easier it is for them to understand what you do, the benefits of your product or service, and you can accomplish all this through social media. Having the right price, obviously social media can't really help you with that, but if you have any discounts or promotions that you're running, obviously you can run that through social media channels and hit a large audience. So how to use it? Again, back to the psychology of customers. Why are they purchasing? It's because they know you, they trust you. Who knows you and who trusts you? Your friends. Where are your friends? If you're using Facebook, you probably have a multitude of people that you've connected with there. The picture that you see there is actually my 8th grade class picture from many years ago. And there was a boy that I went to school with. He was a neighbor who lived directly across the street from us, and we were in school from kindergarten through 8th grade. And on Facebook, I decided not to have a business page, but I just kept, and I do keep a personal page where I post, I would say 5% personal information, but the rest is really geared towards business, the webinars that I conduct, the white papers, the events, the newsletters, any sort of content related to government contracting. So the boy that I mentioned, who's in the picture in the back row, the second from the left, he grew up and became an ophthalmologist. He lives down in Richmond. And he contacted me one day through Facebook and said, I noticed that you help companies that are trying to sell to the government. He said, we're trying to bid on work over at the Bureau of Prisons in Richmond. And the prisons purchase anything from hairdressing services to dentists to eye doctors and you name it, and food services and anything that a prison would be purchasing. So he needed help with obtaining a proposal writer. Obviously, he was going to come to me because we've known each other for many, many years, and he saw on Facebook that I was involved in government contracting. That's just one story on Facebook. I probably have about 6 or 7 more and have obtained clients either directly through people that I've gone to school with, relatives, the husband of a girl that I was in a homeroom with in high school, and the list goes on. So keep in mind, Facebook, those are your friends. You've already kind of crossed those hurdles with the sales process. They know you, they trust you, they like you, and that helps accelerate your sales process. Another way to use social media is to make it personal. and YouTube, you can certainly do that. If you don't want to do a commercial for your own business, that's fine. A lot of people take the approach that it's not good to promote yourself, and I'm one of them. But it's always good to maybe have a couple, one or more complementary partners. So I did a YouTube video for a company that I work with called Govlish, G-O-V-L-I-S-H, and it was basically a product endorsement. The company aggregates government data, basically acronyms for the kind of government language, and they spell out which each of those acronyms are for. So if you have a complementary partner that can do a short video for you, or you hire a firm that specializes in putting on kind of short video commercials for your company, then it's a great way to make it personal, and again, just accelerate that relationship between the buyer and the seller. If you think about it, real estate agents, I think, do a good job of this. They always have their picture on their cards because it is personal. Typically in those transactions, you're spending a lot of money, and you want to work with somebody that you like and you trust, and everybody always has, oh, you've got to use my real estate agent. So it does become a personal thing, and again, social media allows you to have your face, your voice involved in that. Kind of what I mentioned early on, content is really what's going to help you build that credibility and trust even further. So even if somebody on Facebook reconnects with you and realizes what your company sells or does, you still need to show that you do provide a quality service, or you do have a quality product. So you can share, again, as I mentioned, some white papers, or maybe even a comparison between your company and some others, and just put that content out there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, in a newsletter, in a blog, and so forth. And this is not something that you're going to be a one-hit wonder. You really need to do this repetitively, over and over, a couple times a week, perhaps. So again, content is king, and there are some examples that I've listed there as well. Okay. More on really how to use social media, and I used LinkedIn as the primary example. Yes, I've obtained clients and expanded my network through Facebook effectively, but LinkedIn has been a gold mine for me. So how I use it, it's always open on my desktop. I joined, and I have the free subscription, so I'm not paying LinkedIn anything. I'm just investing my time into that. I joined the maximum number of groups, which is 50, related to the industries that I'm selling to and where I think my clients will be. I participate in the groups, meaning that I will go in there typically on a weekly basis. Sometimes it's every other week, and if somebody is posting an article, I will then go in, take a couple minutes, skim through the article. Maybe I don't read the whole thing, but enough to make a comment. And within my comment, I always put my name, a link to my website, my email address, and my phone number. So that way, if somebody's not connected to me directly, at least they can pick up the phone, they can call me, they can reach me. And I will tell you this, there are a lot of lawyers on LinkedIn. There's ample people that read the discussions, they don't participate, but if they see you in there participating and answering questions and posting content relative to that group, your phone will ring. My phone rings, I get emails from people, and then I go back to that discussion and I look for their name, and they're nowhere to be found, so I just realized that there are people out there all over the country, all over the world that are reading these posts. The other thing I do is basically on a daily basis, when I open up Outlook to go through emails, I also open up LinkedIn. At the bottom right-hand side of the home screen, you'll see how many people have viewed your profile. And again, I've got the free version. It doesn't really matter what that number is, but I click on it and I look at who's viewed my profile. If it's somebody that I'm not connected with, I will then go in and invite them to connect and say, I've noticed that you were on my profile. Is there something in particular I can help you with? Connect with them, and if once you start that dialogue, they will in turn come back, and you may or may not get some business out of it. On that same note, I always connect with a personal message. LinkedIn obviously has the, Susie Smith invites you to connect, or please join my network. I always like that out. Make it personal. John, dear Bob, dear Christine, whoever it is. I noticed you're in the government sector, and we share some groups. I thought it would be wise to connect and explore synergies. Sincerely, Jennifer Schaus. So make it personal, and that helps alleviate when people get too many of these requests. And if they don't know you, then you can experience some problems with LinkedIn. Another great thing to do on LinkedIn, and there's two different ways to go about doing this, is to write recommendations for people. And I'm not talking about the skills endorsement that has popped up, I think, in the last 2 or 3 months, but actually writing a recommendation for a colleague, either somebody that works with you, works for you, that you work for, a customer, whoever it is. And most of the time, karma does work, and these folks will, in turn, recommend you back. And it's a great way to get exposure to more people, because those will show up, the recommendations show up in the daily feeds. So whoever you're recommending, all of a sudden you're going to be exposed to their network. Your name will show up that Susie has recommended you, and in their feed, all of their contacts will see your name, and they'll get a little bit of a flavor for what you do and what you've done. One good tip on the recommendations, and sometimes I do this, it just depends, is, if I'm going to recommend somebody, sometimes I may have a conversation with them ahead of time. Hey, let's help each other boost our LinkedIn profiles, and I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine, and it works out well. And with that, you will then find that the number of people that have viewed your profile exponentially rises. So kind of back to that other step, go back in and check out who has viewed your profile and connect with them and find out, if any synergies do exist. The other thing, if somebody does invite me to connect, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to accept the invitation, but I will always respond and say, was there something in particular you wanted to connect on or about? And sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't, but again, it's just starting that dialogue. You kind of need to be aggressive, extroverted, something along those lines to begin the dialogue. The other thing I can say is make sure with LinkedIn that you connect it to your Twitter account. And that way, by making one post on LinkedIn, it will also automatically be posted onto Twitter. And that just helps save time and steps in the process. There's services out there like Hootsuite that will kind of link all of your accounts together that make it more of a seamless process as well. So those are really my big tips for LinkedIn, and I've obtained clients large and small through LinkedIn. I'll tell you a quick story. About 2 days ago, I received a phone call from a gentleman in Florida. And he said, Jennifer, I was referred to you by Bill Promenco, and Bill suggested that I contact you because my company's got a GSA schedule. We're a small business, and we're just struggling with selling to the government. And Bill thought that you could help me. Well, I apologize, but I didn't know who Bill Promenco was. Yes, I'm connected to him on LinkedIn. So I went right away to LinkedIn, looked at his profile, and sent him a note to say, thanks for the referral. Your friend or your colleague in Florida had contacted us, and I think it will eventually turn into something that we can help him. So to me, that's kind of the power of LinkedIn. So I sent him a note yesterday and told him, thanks, yes, we can help him. And you'll see his response there in red. And he says, I was trained to go to you by LinkedIn. So it does work. You just really have to put a lot of information out there, make it easy for people to find you, make your message clear about what it is you do, whether it's a service or product that you offer. So that is one story. Some conclusions. Again, social media is here to stay. It's simply a means or method to promote your business. However, different Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, back in the day, you can say MySpace was kind of popular. So I'm sure over time some of these will evolve, and they may change as far as which ones are more popular and more successful to use. As I mentioned, it does require time as well as content, and that's really the key to it. You just can't have a LinkedIn profile and think that your phone's going to ring every other day with an inquiry. You really need to be posting and be active. You have to participate, and it has to be interactive. Otherwise, it's not going to be useful for you. Okay, questions. If anyone has questions, feel free to type them in on the right-hand side. It looks like I've got a couple here, so let me dig through these. The first question, what is the minimum amount of tweets per week that you recommend to make it worthwhile? I'll answer that a couple ways. Again, you want to make sure that your Twitter is connected to your LinkedIn profile. Sometimes, I would say at least 3 days a week, I'm actively posting something, whether it's, hey, please join our webinar, or reposting a story, a link to an article that was in the Wall Street Journal, or whatever, something that's relevant. So it can just be a matter of spending 5 or 10 minutes during your lunch hours. You're probably sitting at your desk eating a sandwich, and just hitting retweet, or going on there and thanking a customer. So amount of time, an hour to 3 to 4 hours. And the next part of the question reads, also, what if you're only tweeting links to blogs or articles? It's certainly helpful to tweet that information and post that information on LinkedIn, particularly when you're on LinkedIn. Be sure that you also post it in the group. So if you post in that daily news feed or the daily post, you also have the option to share, and then a list of all your groups shows up, and I highly suggest, if it's relevant for the groups, to post it in there. But it would also make sense then, if you do have a comment or an opinion about what you read, then post your comment, make it interactive. Ask somebody a question. If the article is about, I don't know, green tech or clean energy, then ask which companies in this group are finding success in selling their solar panels, or whatever it is. Make it interactive. It's really got to be a discussion. You just can't post something and think that people are going to come read it. So put yourself in the position of the others as well. And the next question, could cold letters used, could cold letters used to be a marketing tool? What is the alternative to that approach? Where you can still send out information about what you are offering. For example, we used it to do a year-end accounting letters emails. I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm assuming just sending out actual kind of snail mail or emails to customers. That certainly works, but again, you can't expect that you send something once a year and you're going to obtain new clients, or the clients that you have are suddenly going to be ordering more product or service from you. It needs to be consistent. I would suggest a monthly newsletter. Keep it short, keep it sweet. People's inboxes are inundated, just a couple bullet points. If you're an accounting firm, hey, we now offer a different type of audit or some other enhanced service. Just, with a quick little blurb. Keep it simple, keep it short. Or if there's some new regulation that is passed, maybe related to the tax law or something, then you can, healthcare obviously would be a good example. So you could pass that out to your customers and prospects, whatever your mailing list is, in a newsletter. And then take that content and also put it on your blog. And then the link to your blog could then be inserted into your LinkedIn post, and then into your LinkedIn groups, and then into, hopefully you're then connected to Twitter, and then on Facebook. Why not? So there's really no limit there. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but if you're sending just one letter at the end of the year, whether it's, thank you for being a great customer, I would be more consistent and do a newsletter once a month. Also, another good thing to do is to thank customers. If you obtain a new customer, find out what their Twitter handle is. Follow them on LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn company page. There's different companies that you can select to follow. But go to Twitter and say thank you, at Coca-Cola or whoever the company is for becoming a customer. If someone's following you now on Twitter, thank your followers. If they see that, then in turn, sometimes they will retweet to their followers, so then you're getting exposure to a broader audience. And I think that may be it for questions. Yes. So thanks everybody for attending. As I mentioned earlier, this webinar is recorded. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask outside of this, my contact information I will put on the next screen here. And if your company does require or need any help with social media marketing, posting newsletters, we can certainly help you with that. So thanks again. Have a great rest of the Friday and a great weekend. Thank you.